Seeing as you people love these web novel reviews that I've been doing, I do not see any reason why not to do some more. So the book that I am reviewing today is called Progressive Detective The Q. This book can be found both on RoyalRoad and ScribbleHub, and yes, it has one of the most light novel-y names for a web novel. So yeah. Now, the link, if you've been on my channel long enough, like I've said, you know that the links to the stories can be found in the description below. And you also find below a link to my own web novel, which is called Phantom Ddraig. And yes, I will keep pushing this story in every video I get. Also, don't forget to, leave a like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified for more content. Now, like I said before, our story is from RoyalRoad and ScribbleHub, and it was written by Ddraig. The author's name is Ddraig, and is currently ongoing with around 26 chapters at the time of me recording this video. Now, a brief warning: this story contains some gore, profanity, and content which is adult in nature, but so be warned. I'm not saying that it's completely a dark bloodbath from chapter 1 to chapter 26, but if you're looking for something incredibly lighthearted, you're not going to find it here. But if you're looking for something that's dark and grim and edgy, if you're looking for a berserk-like story, this isn't the one. It's perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Anyway, let's look at the synopsis in order to ease into the story. So, turmoil brews in Japan when a mysterious man attacks seemingly random places in Osaka. A lone individual named Hyde Tetsuya has no past and a lackluster future for his final high school year. After having strange dreams and an encounter with a mysterious man, he joins a local detective agency to find the truths of the mystery, as well as the secrets behind the two children who hold a strong power. He must be protected from the mysterious man who has his sights set on the children and the tools that contain magic. The world expands from here, with grand ambitions that must be caught. Heroism lies dead in the corner, and what binds humanity all together ends now. There's a case that needs to be solved, but at what cost? Their lives. So, great synopsis. This isn't something that I usually talk about in my reviews, but a good synopsis like this one that will get people interested in looking at the story is a good job. Like, synopses are hard to write. If you've never written one, you might not get it, but if anyone here has written a synopsis, you know how hard it is to get the parts that you want to advertise, the thing that you want the reader to know, but you don't want to boggle them down a lot with some unnecessary stuff that's happening in the story, but you want it to be a hook. Like my personal experience, my story Phantom Ddraig, I have edited and re-edited the synopsis like over 10 times at this point. Like, sometimes I'll write it, I come back, I look at it, I'm like, oh god, this is bad. I rewrite it, I edit it, I just do something different. So a decent synopsis is great. It helps you get the people invested, and the story will get them invested, but it helps them get interested in seeing what happens in the story. Now, onto the story itself. The one thing that I will say about this particular web novel is that it is about as anime as you can get, with high schools and cat girls. And when I say that I freaking love it, I don't mean that it's as anime as it gets and that's bad. That's great. It doesn't go too much into anime tropes, but a lot of Western or English written web novels, while inspired by anime and light novels, don't go that much into we rarely see them set in Japan. Like, if there was a web novel that I could say you can adapt this one into an anime and it'll be very successful and it could easily transition into that. This is one of those. It doesn't go into that anime, it doesn't go too deep into the anime stuff that it feels like it's how do I put it? It feels like it's overdoing it. Like it feels like it's trying too much to draw in anime fans. It's good, man. It feels natural. I love it. Now, another thing that I have to praise it for is it has some nice written action scenes. So my story has action scenes, and I have also read multiple stories, web novels that also have action scenes. Action scenes are hard to write. Proper good action scenes. And they can become clustered with the author trying to tell the audience everything that's happening, or they can be too vague, in which case they're boring. But these are well written action scenes. Like I could visualize them in my mind, and they just felt great to read them. Another thing that I have to praise it for are the fun characters. Like this story has distinct, unique characters who you will remember. Like they have fun interactions with each other, and they're just memorable in their unique personalities. I like how the author is able to introduce these characters directly into the story, and the first time you see them, you know who these people are. They're well introduced, which is something which is really hard to do. Like sometimes in stories, it takes you some time to see the characters interact for a long time to get a gist of who they are. But with this one, as soon as they're there, you know who they are and you like them. Now, Hyde is a bit dry in some places. I don't mean he's a bad character. I just mean in a lot of my reading, he tended to get a bit overshadowed by the other characters who had this fun manic energy to them. But he's also a fun character to read about. Like, he's great. So yeah, there's that. And just the character interactions and the dialogue, like it really carries the story and the scenes. Not that the other elements of the story, like the magic system, that other stuff also carries it and the world, but the characters are the biggest highlight for me. That's what I came from. That was the biggest highlight for me reading this story. Like right now, if I think about this story, I'm thinking back to the characters, and that's something that's very, very important for a story. Like we don't tend to talk about this a lot in terms of the writing community, but what carries a story are the characters. Your world can be the best made world out there, but if your characters are boring, people aren't going to think about it much or come back to it. And me, I will definitely come back to this world because I just love the characters. The characters like Mary have this fun energy that I love. And it isn't just that I love the characters because, oh, they're wacky. They have fun personalities to them that are more than your three-dimensional stuff. And I very much recommend this story if you really want to just have some fun reading this story. Reading this book, I mean. So, now let me talk about some other stuff like, the grammar. I have to talk about that. So the grammar is great. It looks as though the story was well edited, which is, like I said, I know I'm talking a lot about me also being a web novel author, but also I have to constantly go back and re-edit a lot of my old chapters because I make a lot of grammatical errors in some places, but I praise this book because it is well written. There are no grammatical errors, and I know editing can be tough because you have to write it, you have to go back and start editing it. So I know I praise every single book I review a lot, but it's because they're well written books, and as someone who writes and enjoys reading, I can see it from both sides. I know how difficult it is, and if you're able to just get on a very competent level with me in terms of your writing, I will praise you to hell and back. The only thing that I might, like I said, it's Hyde, the main character. he tends to get overshadowed, in my mind at least, in comparison to the other characters, because they're just so memorable. But it isn't that he's that boring or that he can't hold his own as a character. He can, and it's just that everyone else is here, and he's kind of a little lower than them in terms of the memorable character interactions that I remember from him. But yeah, and also the mystery of the story. Like, it's a detective story. There's a detective agency in it. They're magic detectives, so that you will love it. Like, we rarely see magic detectives in web novel stories. So it was a very fun, interesting concept for this, and also the villains were great. So yeah, that has been my review of Progressive Detective The Q. And yeah, if I were to recommend it, I'd give it 8 out of 10. It's a great story, and I very much recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and with 26 chapters, you can come in, and you don't have to, because I know a lot of people don't invest into stories unless they're like somewhere at the 100 chapter mark. But this one is fun, and also the author is updating regularly. With by time of recording, the last update was like 3 days ago, and yeah, it's good. They have a strong update cycle. So yeah, I very much recommend this book. Like I said, 8 out of 10. And this has been Red Chaos 1, signing off.